Yo, what's going on everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go discussion video. Okay, so Rayquaza is a legendary Pokemon that is at the forefront of a lot of players' minds. And the reason for that is because over the weekend, we had a Makeup Raid Day event for Mega Rayquaza Elite Raid Day. And the reason for that is because, of course, the original Elite Raid Day was full of a lot of technical issues, so Niantic decided to have a makeup event for all those players who were affected. And it turns out it was pretty much everyone. So a lot of players out there are lucky enough to get themselves a high IV Rayquaza, but I'm sure there's plenty of players who are disappointed that they were not able to get high IVs of this very key Pokemon. And I think for a lot of those players, I wanted to talk to them in this video because there is no reason for you to feel disappointed when it comes to this Mega Evolution. If you have yourself a Rayquaza that is good enough, then you should still use it with its Mega Evolution. The reason why I say that is because when you look at the breakpoints for this Pokemon, there is a very minuscule difference between the different IVs. If you have a perfect IV Rayquaza, it's not going to deal that much more damage compared to, let's say, a minimum IV Rayquaza, which is 10, 10, and 10. There is just such a discrepancy between different IVs with other Pokemon, but when it comes to Rayquaza, this Pokemon deals an incredible amount of damage regardless of what IVs you have. So that means if you're sitting on a decent Rayquaza, but it's not a 100% IV, and you're trying to determine whether or not you should Mega Evolve it, I do think it is worth it. No matter what, Rayquaza is going to be the most powerful Mega Evolution in the game, and it's going to be that way for a very long time. This is basically the best generalist you're going to have in your collection. Personally speaking, I'm really glad that Niantic is continuously bringing back Mega Rayquaza raids. The only reason why is because of how powerful this Pokemon can be. It has a lot of gameplay implications when it comes to Pokemon Go. And I'm not just talking about raid battles. It can be a very powerful Pokemon for a whole bunch of different content where battling is necessary. For example, Team Go Rocket battles. Having a Mega Rayquaza can be your one answer against a plethora of different encounters. And then on top of that, this Pokemon is really good at clearing out gyms, and just in general, you're gonna get yourself a lot of candies for some of the rarest Pokemon because of the Mega Evolution bonus that this Pokemon brings. I really do think this is one of the most high priority Pokemon in the game. So if you do not have yourself a Rayquaza that you've Mega Evolved just yet, I really do think you should do it, even if it is not a perfect IV. I know there's a lot of players out there who do not Mega Evolve any of their Pokemon unless it is a perfect IV, and I think that is a huge mistake because the gameplay implications behind every single Mega Evolution is just too big for you to ignore. And I really do think that if you have access to any Mega Evolution, specifically Mega Rayquaza, then you should definitely use it because it is a very powerful Pokemon and it is definitely a game changer. Now, the main inspiration for why I'm making this video is actually a Reddit post that I ran across in the Pokemon Go subreddit, and it talks about how all the different breakpoints for Mega Rayquaza are completely minuscule when it comes to how much damage you're going to deal. Basically speaking, even if you have yourself an 80% IV Mega Rayquaza, it's essentially going to deal the same amount of damage and it's going to last the same amount of time in battle as a 100% IV Mega Rayquaza. And the reason for that is because the DPS numbers are just astronomically high when it comes to this Pokemon. So if you are extremely disappointed from the weekend that you did not get yourself a 100% IV, fear not, because even your low IV Rayquaza is still going to deal pretty much the same amount of damage as a 100% IV Mega Rayquaza. That's essentially how breakpoints work. As of right now, we have Moltres in 5-star raids, and then when it comes to the 5-star Shadow raids, we have Suicune. So when it comes to Mega Rayquaza, it's not necessarily going to be that useful right now, but at the same time, it is a very powerful generalist for all the different areas that I mentioned before. But on top of that, there are going to be Pokemon in the future that are going to be weak against Dragon types or Flying types, and Mega Rayquaza is going to be extremely important in those circumstances. So because of that, I really do think it's important that you start Mega Evolving your best Rayquaza right now so that you could have it at a higher Mega Evolution level by the time those raid bosses come out. That's going to create a lot of advantages for you, and it's going to reduce the cost of Mega Evolving your Rayquazas. So yeah, it's imperative that you start Mega Evolving your best Rayquaza right now. Go ahead and teach it Dragon Ascent with your Meteorites and then start Mega Evolving it. It's definitely going to be useful in a lot of different areas, and you will want to get it to a high Mega Evolution level by the time we get a Pokemon that has Dragon as counters. And trust me on that, there's plenty of raid bosses who are weak against both dragon types and flying types, and Mega Rayquaza is just an absolute beast when it comes to those raids. Like, if there's a grass type raid boss, for example, I mean, I don't think there's that many grass types, but if there is a grass type Pokemon or a fighting type Pokemon that is a raid boss, then Mega Rayquaza is going to be an absolute monster. And there's other Pokemon who are weak against dragon types that are going to get completely decimated by this Pokemon. It really is important that you start Mega Evolving it. I just cannot stress that enough. So yeah, I just wanted to make this video to kind of address a lot of players who just might be feeling very disappointed for not getting themselves a good IV Mega Rayquaza. I do think that in general, this is one of those rare cases where IVs don't necessarily matter. So take heart, if you do have a good enough Rayquaza, then start Mega Evolving it, and you will not regret it. I mean, maybe in the future you might come across a 100% IV, you should still be on the hunt for it, but at the same time, if you have access to a Mega Rayquaza, you should start using it right away. That's just my own personal suggestion. But in any case, that's essentially going to be it for this video. Now, let me know your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below in the comments. Do you completely disagree with me and you feel like 100% IVs are the way to go? Or do you agree with me that, well, you do not necessarily need a 100% IV in order to get the best usage out of Mega Rayquaza? I would like to know those thoughts down below, and yeah, let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here, and don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the absolute best way you could do so is by joining my Patreon. And if you choose to do that, I will put you on my friends list in a permanent spot. So when it comes to remote raids or the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a different way, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and let's interact together. Alright, and that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.